My name is Ashni, and I'm going to be talking about gender bias and stereotypes, especially in relation to girls in tech, most of the talent for girls. So a little bit about me. I recently, and by recently, 3 months ago, graduated from university. I studied computer science at the University of Toronto. I've also been a very active member in the tech community. So I've been there for the last few years. I was the president of our student union. I was actually the first female president of the years, so I was really proud about that. I also founded WITA, which is a student hackathon event, and we created the first one in Canada, and there's many happening almost every month. I've had a lot of different work experience, so I got to work at Orlando with a farmer. I also had an internship at Amazon, which was fun. And some of my other interests or talents are photography, hiking, as long as I don't die myself, reading, and I watch an unhealthy amount of TV, and that's my practice. So, this is a couple of my talents. I have been focusing a lot more on my photography recently, just because during pandemic, so I also do like wildlife photography, so back to the line, all that's fun. Other talents that I work on, I play violin. I used to play a lot better than I do today. Oh, this is another fun one. I can play really fast. It's a little weird. So you can like to see it. It's one of those really random weird things you pick up as a kid. Because hey, that's a talent. If I ever need to creep someone out, I got that. So you know a bit about mine. What's some of yours? Check. Great chatting, guys. Yeah. I am not a good card. Awesome. And now, do any of you have brothers? Yes. What are your brothers? Your brother? So I don't have an actual brother, but I have a cousin brother who lives together. His son is probably terrorizing me and my cousins and sisters. What? So I want you to think back to when you were kids, and when you, and especially if you have a brother or other siblings, how are you treated compared to how your brother was treated? You know, how many times or how often were you encouraged to do one thing your brother was encouraged to do something else? You know, so an extreme example of this is children in rural Africa. We talked about this earlier. Is a lot of children don't have access to, or sorry, a lot of girls end up going and fetching water, and that's their task for the day, whereas boys are encouraged to go and stay in school. That's a more extreme example, but it's a very real example because that's something that happens every day, especially for the young girls in this country and many other African countries. But if you take it more into what we do as girls and boys who are growing up, we as girls are, if we ever have guests coming over at home, we're encouraged to go to the kitchen to help make tea or coffee and serve drinks, where the boys get to sit and look around. And you know, if it's a family meeting kind of setting, the exact same situation. The men will then discuss important decisions that the family have to figure out and go through, where the women are in the kitchen. And we need to learn to be a part of that conversation. So gender bias and stereotypes is obviously a huge thing. A lot of the problems that we face today as women are because we were brought up to be that way. And not just us, but other women and other men have been brought up to think, hey, you're a woman, you belong in the kitchen. Or hey, you're a woman, you don't know anything about leadership. And so yes, we have to teach our girls to be more confident, but we also have to teach our boys that, you know what, girls are just as capable, and we have to start this from a very young age. So I am extremely lucky, and I know that I'm very privileged because I have been exposed to many different options and many different things and activities from my parents, have, especially my dad, has always encouraged me to go out, try new things, even if it's crazy. I love quad biking. I love motorbiking. These are not things that you usually see girls doing. But as you know, my parents encouraged me to do this when I was young. And these have given me the confidence that I have. I can trace back a lot of my qualities and the things that I personally like about myself to things that my parents have done for me. One of the big ones is, you know, when you fly to another country or you fly back home, you have to fill out a landing card. So as a kid, this is I would always want to fill the landing card out because I know it's so important. If you write something wrong on that card, and you won't get accepted to the country. My parents would let me fill that out, and it's such a big responsibility. You know, I would write a nice big block of letters. If I make a mistake, I'd run to the air hostess, ask for it. And I felt really good that I got to be one who was in charge. And that percolates forward into other parts of my life where I feel confident enough to fill out forms. I feel confident enough to fill out job applications. These applications are much faster. And it's small things like being able to fill out a form. And that's also taught me organization. You have to organize your if you're filling out forms, you need to know where the information is. And I've used that a lot, especially the organization part, and different activities that I organize as well. So it was the first time that Canada ever had this. We had over 300 people. This is my age. We had 7 people. And it's all sort of kicked back from this event. But I still get a lot of gender-biased questions. So one example is this past weekend, I was in Naivasha. We were on a game drive and we were taking lots of photos. And later I heard my dad talking to one of the drivers. And the driver was telling my dad, I've never seen a girl so enthusiastic about photography. So I've never really realized that photography was a gender-biased thing, but now that I think about it, a lot of the more famous photographers are gender. Another example is we were a group of us, I think we were 5 girls, no, 3 or 4 girls and 1 guy in the car. And I was driving, and the guy, he's American, so he was nice. He's like, do you want me to drive? I was like, no, I'm fine. He's like, I know, because usually girls know by driving at night. I was like, I love driving, nighttime is the same as daytime, if you're in the car, the lights kind of a thing. And it's small statements like that, but you don't really realize it, but they sort of tell you, hey, you're a girl, you shouldn't drive. So at some point in our lives, especially as young women, we always get told, or we always have that conversation with our parents of, hey, you're hitting a certain age, what about marriage? What kind of man? You know, are you dating anyone? And it teaches us, especially for young girls, that we have to have a man to be happy. But that's not true, especially today. My sister and I and a couple of our aunts were having this competition. And this is my sister's response when she came out dating. What are you thinking about? And she's younger than I. And she said simply, it's 2016. Women are able to be successful and happy. And I think that's such a true statement. That's something that parents need to realize when you talk to children. Because if you talk to a boy, or if you see parents talking to a boy, it's often, oh, how's your business going? Or how is your work going? Do you have a job? But when you talk to girls, it's like, oh, do you have a husband? And as soon as you're married, are you going to give up working so you can take care of the family? If that is what you as a woman want to do, it's fine, go for it. But you shouldn't have that forced onto you from a young age. I'm just going to give a quick shout out to Cheryl Snapper. She's the CEO of Facebook, and she wrote this book called LinkedIn. I read it and I really loved it. It just gives you a lot of ideas and context of ways that women can be more confident in themselves. And she has a huge section on how she and her husband are trying to have an equal relationship in their marriage, as well as how they're raising the children. And if you ever get a chance, definitely read this book. Yeah, graduates. So it's the same book, it just has a few extra chapters. Yeah, and she was criticized so heavily after her husband died because he didn't go back to it. But if you reverse the gender roles, it would have been fine. So it's one of those like you're just constantly getting stuff like that. I actually recommend this for women and men because I push us back to the idea of also have to take the men. And one of the big things I find, especially with the way I was brought up, is women are in the kitchen preparing while the men don't have meetings, while the men go to the work. And a huge chapter, or one of the things that really stood out to me in her book is she and her husband try to have a very balanced relationship. So she will work the whole day, she will come home and she has her chores, but her husband comes home and has the chores as well. It's not like the husband comes home and expects her to do it. And it's starting to teach things like that to children. Also, like, I know that in the partner that I work for, I'm not going to stop my career to write a cycle. And I want my partner to understand that. I want my partner to have an equal relationship with me. And that's why I recommend this book to both of them. So, back to the gender bias and stereotypes. Shout out what gender you only associate when you hear the word doctor. When you hear the word doctor, right? Nurse. Right? Which one do you think is better, doctor or nurse? Right? So automatically we already think that man is better than woman. And it's using phrases like this, or it's teaching phrases like this, that we need to start getting out of that context and start teaching our children. You have women doctors. Women doctors can be amazing and teach them if you want to be a doctor, if you want to be a doctor, you can be a doctor with membership. So, pink versus blue. This is a big debate. So I've seen it more in the Western world, but I also haven't done as much study on it in the Western countries. Someone conducted a study of about 120 children, all age wanted to find out if the idea of girls like pink, boys like blue is something that they grew up with, or something that they're the nature of this. And they asked for both. They asked these 120 children, for both boys and girls, to pick their favorite color and to pick their favorite shape. And they found that boys and girls actually both preferred pink and the brown shape when they were younger. They also found that after you hit the 2-year age mark, boys tend to start going more towards this blue color, towards this sort of and these were actually told because pink was a more solid color and powerful color, whereas blue was a dainty color for girls. So it's interesting to see how that was. So the researchers went and asked all months in the vote, and 57.2% of them preferred girls, while 56.4% of the boys preferred girls. And then if we ask at 2-year-olds, the numbers have shifted slightly. Now have 2.7% of the girls prefer girls, while 47.9% of them prefer boys. And this shows that toy face is an acquired, toy face is acquired as you grow older. And it's similar with everything else. If you can see this much of a difference in adult time child, you can imagine what other micro things so, who here is an Avengers? I know a few. Black Widow is one of the characters of the show, and she's portrayed by Scarlett. This picture here is the set of toys that Marvel released as part of the second movie onwards. And in the movie, Scarlett Johansson's character is a core member of the team. But if you look here, these action figure dolls don't have a Scarlett Johansson's character. There's actually another set of dolls where they have Captain America riding where in the movie it was actually Scarlett Johansson. And so it's like these action figures are only for boys, or boys would never want to be character in the set of boys, or girls will never want to play with this. And then the lovely shopping aisles at many different shopping centers. I think not might be Dutch as well. It's just something that is so ingrained into us. If you're looking for girls' toys, you'll automatically find them in the pink section. If you're looking for boys' toys, they're in the blue section, or you get a bigger range of action figures and not just dolls. I believe Hamleys and Target are both actively working against making their signs gender biased. And I believe Hamleys has actually removed all signs suggesting that boys were girls or boys, and they just identified different kinds of so they're actively doing this. So what kind of things can we start doing to both empower ourselves, but also empower the next generation, girls and boys, to let girls be more comfortable in the industry? The first is to use non-gender language. So, going back to doctor, nurse, teaching girls, yes, a doctor can be a woman, yes, a nurse can be a man, and that's okay. If you look at any TV show that has a male nurse in it, the male nurse is always a part of the joke. And starting to teach our children that isn't necessarily true. Have brilliant female doctors, brilliant female engineers, as well as female engineers. That is providing equal opportunities for both girls and boys to participate. This is huge. Telling girls when they're little that they're not allowed to go play outside in the dirt because they're going to get dirty when all their toddlers are outside, that isn't a good way to start getting this form of thinking behind. And let children go and play and let them explore their opportunities in both ways. I mentioned earlier, I'm really lucky because my parents encouraged me to go and try things like biking, motorbike. Very few girls would ever sit next to the back of the motorbike. Or at least in my experience, but giving girls and boys an equal opportunity to this at a younger age before girls think, oh, it's too scary to get onto it. It starts giving them the opportunity to be. Openly discuss gender issues with children. And this, again, is not just girls. We have to discuss it with both girls and boys. Because if you have this discussion with kids from a young age, they start becoming aware. They start understanding some of the things that are being said, and they can actually start acting against it. Obviously not, rebelling in a confrontational way. If we're out for a movie or something, and because you're a girl, we're assuming people can speak to the car. That's great, but what if I want to go for the event? If giving girls the opportunity to say things like, if you ever feel like you're doing this way, just speak up, start building your self-confidence. This is probably the biggest one for me, is encourage children to try new things. The reason that I feel very happy and very confident with all the different hobbies that I have is because from a young age, my parents have always encouraged me to try new things. If I hated it, they would never force me to go and do it further, except for come on back, that would almost get rid of it. But the rest of it has always just been, are you interested in this? Horseback riding, my parents let me some of it that I still love to do. So just expose your children to that. And then be the odds what gives the best gifts. And I put auntie quotes because that I have a lot of young cousins who I like to give gifts to. And I think give the best gifts, I mean, if they're girls and they like earrings, we get them earrings. I try to always find balance between something very girly, because they are very, like, my cousins are very girly, but also finding some sort of gadget or some sort of other thing that might interest them more into the STEM fields. So for Christmas a year ago or 2 years ago, I was about to make some sort of a game that they could play together, and then I walked around. And now every couple of weeks when I'm there and we have some time, I'll teach them, hey, let's connect the light bulb. Let's try and connect these wires. What else? And I can see that interest is growing in them, and they're more interested in going into the STEM fields than they would have been if I hadn't teach them. And I see that because their parent or their mother isn't in the STEM field in the same way, or isn't in the tech field in the same way. So be the role model of the next generation as well. We've talked about this a lot today. You want to show the girls and boys that if you can do something, they have the ability to do that as well. So with my little cousins, I have so many different interests. There's photography, coding late into the night, talking. With like a pretty nice DSLR, they're not much. So I can suffer from it because of the fear of patients and doctors break their passion. Or instead, I can teach them how to use it properly. So with my camera, I taught them from a young age, always have this strap around your neck. That way, if it falls out of your hands, it's not fall to the ground. Every time I see them touch the camera, the first thing they do is put the strap on their head. And then they go and they take pictures, and you can see them actively getting better at the pictures. Some of theirs are actually way better than mine. And it's just giving them the opportunity. So anytime I have an interest, and I can course, then that's a key way to model your children. So, any questions? We've talked about a lot of these topics already, so. Sure.